Grab 10 to 12 feet of rope and join us for the rope stretch circuit we expect athletes to be doing on a daily basis outside of practice time. Kate Cabanina, cross-country state champion, national championship qualifier, once again is going to take us through the routine. What we need to understand about rope stretching is that we're really activating the antagonistic muscle, which is the muscle opposite the joint of the one that we're trying to stretch. So in this case, it's a calf stretch. We've looped the rope around the top of the foot, but we're going to actually contract our shin muscle. You can see Kate pointing her toe, and then she contracts the shin to pull that toe towards her before she uses the rope to get that last bit of stretch on the calf muscle. So it's the activation of the muscle on the opposite side of the joint that signals for that muscle to relax. So in this case, we're activating the hip flexor and the quad to lift the leg up vertically, and that's going to relax the hamstring and the glute. Kate's not pulling on the rope until that leg gets to vertical. She's lifting her leg using the hip flexor and the quad. And then you can see the very end is where she pulls that rope. So we want to do 6 to 12 reps, and each rep we should be able to get that range of motion just a little bit further. This is a groin and hamstring stretch, so Kate's moving her leg laterally using that hip flexor and quad, and then pulling with the rope at the very end. She's keeping her shoulders flat and then rotating in the hips. So here we have a glute and a hamstring stretch. She's going to move that leg laterally without using the rope. She's only going to tug on the rope at the very end of that range of motion. Each time she's extending that range of motion. Now we're going to do a hamstring and glute on the opposite side. So we just did everything on the left leg. Now we're going to do the right leg. Hip flexion, quad contraction, and that relaxes the hamstring and the glute on the opposite side of the leg. And that's where she gets that final tug on the rope to increase that range of motion each rep. We'll do the groin and hamstring laterally. She's taking that right leg and moving it by activating her hip flexor and her quad. And then at the end, she pulls on the rope to get that last bit of range of motion out of her hamstring and her groin. Moving over again to the hip and glute and hamstring, moving that leg laterally over to the left, and then pulling with the rope at the very end. We want to do these movements slowly and deliberately. We want to make sure that we're activating that antagonistic muscle in order to get the opposite muscle to relax. Now, this quad stretch is tricky. You've got to be balanced laterally on your side. So Kate right now is on her right side, and she's looped that rope around the midfoot again, and then she's getting that left leg quad stretched out. As she transitions here to the right quad, pay attention to the way that she's pulling that rope pretty much just past her ear and not pulling that leg up high off the ground. So the leg is staying lateral and the pull is being done right past her ear. You can see there she's tilting a little bit. You want to do a good job of keeping that foot behind you rather than pulling it up over the top. The more you're able to keep that heel and foot away from the glute rather than pulling the heel into the glute, pull that rope away from the body and we'll get the stretch deep into the middle of that quad. Just like static stretching and self-massage, this is a routine we expect athletes to be doing daily outside of practice time.